75 War and Peace, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy and Espen Barth Aid. A broader picture emerges. A great war has begun. The year is 2026. Humanity has had to endure many senseless wars. Looking back, we see unimaginable suffering, and usually very little has been achieved. On the contrary, wars cause deep wounds and incomplete results. Yet we do not give up. More precisely, those in power do not give up, because war is about power, and people of power love power. The population of a country becomes mere hostages in a mad scenario, an experience of powerlessness. A helplessness replaced by desperation and misery. Is this humanity's badge of honor? The war hero is celebrated. The brave, proud soldier is symbolized as progress and a bright future. When, in times of peace, we entertain grand ideas about the war hero, how can we change course? Most people on this planet want peace, but there will always be some who want war. Let us step a little back in time. We are in Thuringia in Germany, 270 years ago. There was great unrest throughout the region. They lacked a leader. Eventually, however, a local potential leader was introduced. He came from the Protestant congregation, God's Wings, an orthodox direction within Christianity. Yes, orthodox, but he had radical ideas about the future. This promising young figure was named Bertram Paz. One Saturday morning he had appeared in the town square and spoke forcefully, delivering a resonant gospel of a better future. Everything would become so much better, he said, if only he were allowed to decide. With remarkable speaking abilities, Bertram gained support. Most of the town's population supported his message. He became a beloved and popular figure. Elections were not held at that time, but Bertram was proposed as leader by the town's elite, and he also had the majority of the population behind him. On a brilliant spring day in April, specifically April 12, 1774, Bertram Paz stood in the town square as the chosen leader. Not only did he gain leadership of the town, he was also given responsibility for the entire region. Plans were made to make him both king and archbishop at the next great assembly in the square. He was deeply learned in Old Testament writings and was also a recognized macroeconomist. He seemed perfectly suited for great social responsibilities. At the next great assembly he was proclaimed king of Thuringia. At that time it was not unusual for groups of people to migrate around Europe, much as we see around the world today. In 1775 a large group arrived south of Thuringia. They originated east of Poland, in the area, the country, we today call Belarus. They brought with them a warrior culture based on an orthodox interpretation of the Old Testament, in which the highest God ordains genocide and ethnic cleansing. With that fundamental outlook, they saw nothing morally wrong in cutting down other peoples along their path. They were convinced they had the blessings of this highest God. Bloodshed was an everyday occurrence. They had settled a few kilometers from the border of Thuringia. Rumors spread that they intended to invade Thuringia, which was widely known as a resource-rich region with particularly large deposits of precious metals. One October day, more precisely October 12, 1776, the Belarus contingent crossed the border in great numbers. It was a border drawn on paper but invisible in the landscape. Only a few boundary posts stood here and there. People could move freely across the border, but had to report to the district office if they wished to remain in Thuringia for a longer period. This Belarus contingent had no plans other than to plunder the area. King Bertram had already prepared himself. He gathered all able-bodied men and equipped them with the best weapons by the standards of the time. He had never before been in such a serious and threatening situation. But an intuitive feeling in his gut told him clearly that he must do his duty and defend his land. The Belarus contingent had already begun looting churches in the southern part of the region and was now approaching the central parts of Thuringia. When they attempted to plunder the largest cathedral in the region, Bertram deployed his battle-ready forces. It became a brutal clash with heavy losses on both sides. But Bertram's men emerged from the bloodbath with the advantage in numbers and renewed faith in victory. It took a few days before the Belarus contingent reorganized. In the meantime, Bertram's soldiers prepared for the next wave of attacks. On November 12, 1776, they attacked again from the south. This time they targeted the eastern cathedrals. But they were met with resolute resistance from the Thuringian army. Another bloodbath took place. The cathedral was desecrated. But the Belarus contingent had suffered such heavy losses that they withdrew completely. It was said that the few survivors had decided to return to the country they came from. The war was considered over.